Morning. I'm going to show you real quick how to calibrate and test the HP 623B test set. This test set was popular with telephone companies in the 70s when they used microwave hops instead of fiber, and there were quite a few of these floating around. This is just a brief tutorial. It's not intended to replace the service manual or the operator's manual. So real quick, probably one of the first things you want to do is turn the attenuator down and go ahead and plug the unit in, and the frequency is set by the tuning and the repeller. So go ahead and turn the unit on. The unit takes approximately 90 to 120 seconds to actually kick on. There's a delay while the filaments for all the tubes warm up. This is tube driven, and there's also an internal fan, and you may want to take these corner screws out carefully and check that fan. That fan's kind of an open face fan, and they tend to get a little sticky. So I'll be quiet here in a minute and you'll hear the thing pop, and that's the relay kicking in for the delay. Okay, one of the first things you want to do is, like I said, you turn the attenuator all the way up so that nothing bad happens to the RF. This test set is two pieces of equipment. One is an RF generator in the gigahertz range. This one is in the 6 gigahertz range. The other side is a RF detector and frequency meter. So after you do that, you want to set this into the calibrate position, and this is basically as a coaxial switch inside the machine. So but you pull up, turn the unit over, and push back down. Okay. The next thing you want to do is zero out the power meter. There's a coarse adjustment, which is pretty obvious, and then there's a fine adjustment. You probably really want to do this after about 5 minutes of warm-up. And according to HP's manual, these things really only become accurate with the test chart after this thermometer reads 50 degrees centigrade. There is a compensator formula that allows you to figure that out if you're in a big hurry. You want to set the mode, this is for the oscillator, into the CW position. And you want to tune the tuning and repeller to approximately the same frequency that you want. So I'm going to set it to 6 gigahertz on this one. Okay, so we've got that all set up. Okay, so you want to go ahead and start advancing the attenuator. And here you can see the meter start to move. Just advance it to close to 0 because you still have some setup to do. You want to set the tuning to the frequency you want, and then adjust the repeller for the maximum tuning. And you also want to adjust the trim for maximum tuning. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. One of the other things I can show you how to use here is a frequency meter in these. The frequency meter uses this chart. There's a chart that comes with these. If you didn't get the service manual and you didn't get the chart, you're kind of in big trouble. That chart uses this micrometer to help you determine where the frequency is at. You might be able to fudge it. A lot of the charts are unit specific. They're actually, on the chart is the serial number of the unit. And what you have to do is read this micrometer. And what you do is you adjust the micrometer until the power meter dips. You're tuning in for a resonant dip. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up on the internet. And it's very sharp and it's hard to adjust. There, it's starting to dip. You go back and forth a few times for the maximum dip. It should be approximately 2 dB, which that one is. Then, on the back side of this, you read the where the micrometer is set. If you're a machinist, you'll know how to do that. And then you look that number up. This one is probably, if I had to guess, if it's at about 6 gigahertz, it's at about 590, 593, around in there. There's actually a small veneer on there that takes it down past into the tenths of a decimal place. And that's really all there is to it. Like I said, you should wait to get an accurate reading till this temperature comes up to about 50 degrees centigrade. And that's just a quick tutorial on how to check these real quick if you've got a hold of one of these and want to play with it and see how it works. In the operate position, these two coax connectors take over, and the generator's output and the frequency meter's input are available to the user. There's some other things in the book that are useful to someone wanting to fiddle around with these. There's kind of a sweep generator. Sometimes in the lid there's an extra crystal for the detector for the frequency meter side of these things. These run on a klystron and they're all vacuum tube driven. They're pretty tough. This one was last calibrated in the 70s and it's still in pretty good shape. There's some vent holes and stuff in the lid. If you take care of these and don't beat them up or let them just sit and run for no good reason, they provide quite a long service. And this one's missing the ID plate. I don't know why. If you look on the serial number, there are different versions of these. It's the same basic unit, but I believe it's dash... I thought it was like dash H2. I can't remember right off the bat. H01 through H03. And those are the different frequency ranges. No one of these can cover all the frequency ranges these are capable of. And in the book it does show you how to replace the klystron, retune the unit for a new frequency range. Although I probably wouldn't, unless you're really desperate, I wouldn't recommend it. So there you go. You're all set. Have a good day. Thanks.